Your number one hype gal here, and welcome to the weekly warm-up, your weekly dose to feel a little more confident and a lot more human. I'm Jess Rose McDowell, and each week I'll share life updates, mindset shifts, product faves, the little things that help me stay grounded, energized, and moving and grooving. Whether you're heading out for a jog, sipping your morning coffee, or just need a midweek pick-me-up, this is your warm-up for living a real balanced life. So take a breath, shake it out, and let's dive in. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Episode 5 of the Weekly Warm-Up Podcast. If you're watching right now, you're probably wondering, where did you go? Where are you, Jess? Where did you go? Well, I'm in my closet. Yes, we've moved locations. I don't know if it's permanent, but for right now, we're improvising. And I felt like my closet is a very safe space. I love it. I'll have to give you a 360 when we're done. We're in the corner. I'm on some cushions. I'm leaning on all my suitcases. We've got my activewear in every location, all the things I love, and it also is less echoing here. So I figured, why not try? And this is how much we're improvising. I have my mic on my ribbed foam roller, and my computer's down here that's recording. I have a mic cover now. Hopefully this works out. Because, it's going to be so much fun to be able to look back on these episodes when I have my own studio and just to see all the ways I made this happen. And I don't mind it at all, though it can be stressful. Don't get me wrong. Anywho, today I'm wanting to kind of switch it up a little bit, and I'm wanting to kind of chat about who I am and how I got to where I am today. Because I'm gracing y'all on your screens and in your ear holes, and some of you don't really know who I am. And I think that is very important if we're going to continue to build a relationship, and if you're going to continue to listen to me, and I'm going to continue to bring you the weekly warm-up every week. So we're going to go in quick, basic, chronological order. I will probably squirrel, but that's okay. And then we're going to touch on some really fun pop culture news topics that I want to discuss. That's the plan today. So let's dive in. So where do we start? Let's start with baby Jess. Baby Jess Rose McDowell, October 18th, 1989. It is a cool, brisk morning in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. My mom was in labor for 30 hours, and I was born at 11:45 in the morning. I think I was 9 or 10 pounds, just a bowling ball ready to take on the world. Anyway, so that's what's up. I was born in Canada. Both of my parents are originally from Canada. My parents had a business and restaurant and a home in Vero Beach, Florida, where I grew up. Well, we actually had 2 places, and then obviously my home in Canada. And so that's kind of how, when my parents divorced when I was 2, my mom stayed in Vero with me and raised me in Vero. My dad had a place in Vero that he would come back and forth to, and that's that. We're not going to touch on all of my dad and things that went on with him and me in my life, because that's for another episode. But basically, long story short, my dad suffered from alcoholism and addiction, and I was raised by my mom and was very close and is still very close to my mom's side of the family. Fast forward, I grew up in Vero Beach, Florida. That's where I grew my love for soccer and being a competitive soccer player. I was a competitive cheerleader. I loved playing sports, and I got that side from my dad, actually. I was very athletic with my dad and had a relationship with him when I was younger, when I didn't understand the addiction, and my mom was really just being such an amazing co-parent, which I'm so grateful for when I was younger, because she could have had the opportunity to remove me from him completely, but she never was once like that. And I'm thankful for that, because I got to make that decision when the time was right. Now, obviously, when things got a little bit dysfunctional, she would step in, but long story short, that's that. So my athletic side came from my dad. He was a major athlete, and we did everything active together. Most sports came natural to me, or if I started something new, I would pick up on it pretty quickly. Though my hand-eye coordination was not always the best. I was horrible at basketball, which is crazy because I'm 5'11", and, obviously height matters for basketball. Anywho, big soccer player. That was my sport. played on 3 competitive soccer teams. I was a huge competitive cheerleader. I was a main base and tumbler. Oh, I was a striker, starting striker for soccer. Though I dabbled in being a goalie at one time, which was fun. Dabbled in being midfield a little bit, but my main position was always striker. So that's how I kind of grew my love for sports and my athleticism and fitness. But when I was younger, I would have neighborhood dog clubs. I would and did run for student class president and get it. I was very much always sticking up for my classmates and the voice of my friends or people around me. And I always felt like people listened and they wanted to listen, and I made myself heard. Sometimes probably not always the best, but a lot of it was for good. And I always knew in the back of my mind, one, that I wanted to be a public figure, inspiring and speaking and reaching large groups of people to make everyone better versions of themselves, no matter what. Fast forward college in Alabama, I actually graduated with a bachelor's in advertising and a minor in political science. And then from there, I went off to achieve my American College of Sports Medicine personal training, and I became a sports nutritionist. I did certify myself with spinning, the actual brand, but I never really continued to keep up with it. I love it. It's just not the area that I was going down, which you'll see in a second. So, anyways, being able to have those two or all that education as far as my degrees go and my background goes, it really helped me to develop into what I really wanted to do in life and how I got to where I am today and how I worked my way up. When I graduated college, I worked for major or professional sports companies and some of the top advertising agencies before I really switched my role into fully diving into fitness. With that being said, I think it's because when I would be with the sports agencies, or not sports agencies, when I was working with the major league sports, I would see the players and see the training and the coaching, and that really, really inspired me because that's what I've always loved to do. And then I got my leadership and my independence and my grit and my drive from my mom and my mom's side of the family. My mom's side of the family all actually live in a small town in Canada, just outside of Niagara-on-the-Lake, and we have a farm there. My grandpa, my late grandpa, who passed away a couple years ago, he started a milk and crop farm that we have today, and I'm very thankful that I was raised around really strong women and really independent women who then went off and got married to really strong and independent men, but that also support and love them and want them to succeed, while also they did a really great job of raising kids and have kids right now. I'm an only child, so my cousins, which there's 6 of us, so there's 3 older than me and then 2 younger than me, are my sisters, or were my sisters. They treated me like a sister. I treated them like sisters. And it's nice because I felt like my 3 older ones, which was from my mom's sister, who's the oldest, were like my older sisters. And then the 2 young ones, which is from my mom's young brother, my Uncle Dave, my mom, and then my Aunt Kathy. The 2 young girls were like my little sisters. So it was nice to have that aspect of both areas. And then it was also just really cool, and I felt really lucky and blessed that I had the best of both worlds, that I could go to my farm and kind of be in God's country and shut off and be surrounded by family and animals and nature and get dirty, and then be able to come back home to Vero where, it's paradise and you kind of have the finer things in life, or the nicer things, whatever you want to say. I just realized that was so long-winded. I almost didn't stop to breathe. So I had to take a breath and take a sip of water. Anywho, my mom, so she is a Florida Gator, and her career has been about being a CEO and a president, and the amount of awards and achievements she's received is unbelievable. And so going back to that's where I got my drive from, is the examples that my mom has shown me. And I'm really thankful for that. She has always raised me and told me to never rely on anybody for finances, for resources, for anything. That you can be in relationships and you can be in whatever it is that you want, but to always contribute, because you never want to be in a situation where you feel stuck and you can't get out. And that means for anything in life, not just relationships, work, friendships, everything. And I really thank her for that, because that's what I'm doing. Hopefully, I'm not scrolling too much. I think you guys are kind of getting the draft here. So we're going to move on and now kind of talk about my career and those milestones. When I fully transitioned over into fitness, I started from ground up. Not only is that the right way to do it, but I also felt like I needed to do that too, because I wanted to experience every part of not only the business side, but as far as the fitness side, the physical aspect, the mental aspect, the business aspect, the financial aspect, admin, whatever it is, I wanted to experience it all, because I know that that is how you become the most successful in your career. And because I have also an advertising background with my sports science background and education, and I have been able to develop everything that I've done today almost on my own, or basically on my own. I started off as with opening gyms. I really did. That's what I did. I did part-time. I would open gyms. And that's how I got used to how the dynamics of being a part-time employee was, how people treated me, how I treated other people, customer service, how to maintain a facility. And after I got, my feet wet, I guess you could say, with working and opening fitness centers, or excuse me, a gym, I then was training, and I was doing tons of group fitness classes, and I was doing personal training, and I loved that. And I got that aspect of, being one-on-one with your clients and being not only their trainer and somebody that they confide and they trust in and are wanting to become the best version of themselves inside and out, but you, no matter what, trainers especially, group fitness, yes, but not on as much of a level as personal training goes. You are their therapist too. Truly, you are these people's therapist. You are more in contact with them than you really think. Now, obviously, that's up to you to set your boundaries, and we can talk about that another day, honestly, because that's something I could really talk about. But you're more than just a trainer. And so you really kind of figure out that mental aspect of how to take care of yourself and also take care of people, and also be a role model for your clients who are confiding in you and are paying you to transform their entire life. Because when you sign up to be, or when you sign up to have a personal trainer, you most likely are coming in with a goal and are wanting to change something in your life. And that's going to change several other things, because you're going to start having better mental health, better physical health. Once I realized that I could really do this on my own, I then started my own personal training business, where I flourished and grew so much as a business owner, as being an independent woman, and learning more of the business aspect of my career. Not only did I handle the admin side, I was handling the finance side. Obviously, my mom was helping me with that. I was handling, obviously, my clients with personal training, but I was doing social media. That's where social media for me really started kicking off, is when I was starting to train. And then I started dabbling a little bit when I started to train. And then when I really started my own business, I really dived into the social media more, because the content creation, I'm just my creative side. I've always been so creative. So I felt like the two and two really go hand in hand. I made my own website. I had my own LLC. I even did a trademark on the name of my personal training company, Kinetic Sweat, which it's still technically trademarked, so don't even try me. I handled all the back end when it came to, Google search and your SEO. I handled, posting and sharing on social media. I handled doing my business cards. Any type of marketing and admin that you had to do, for business, I did, on top of being there for my clients and waking up day after day at all hours of the day, quickly taking a 20-minute nap, and then going after it again. And then on top of that, going after my next goals and my ultimate, those bigger goals at the same time. So from there, I ended up where I'm at now and moving into Miami, where I became director of fitness and wellness programming. And that's pretty amazing. I continued obviously with my social media, which I love to death. And that to me, again, has turned into a I don't want to even say it's part time because it's pretty much full time for me as well. So I've started then to grow in my career of being a director and, influencing on a bigger level as far as content creation goes. And then from there, my bigger goals of becoming a community leader and a speaker, how I've gotten into being the host of the Fabletics Miami Run Club, where I actually was not only that, the first Fabletics run host to host a run club ever for the brand. That to me, I felt was a really cool accomplishment to be the first one to start it and host the first step. Like, how many times am I going to say first? Like, girl, chill out. We get it. We get it. Good gosh. Anywho, so I was the first. But to be able to have worked and am working for such amazing brands on the influencer content creator side, and to be able to then morph it into everything else that I'm doing is a really big blessing. And at the same time, here I am being a director. And it really has gone to show that all my education that I've done has paid off, because I am able to take everything that I did at Alabama, advertising wise, graphic design wise, creative wise, and use that as my business tool and entrepreneurial tool with my education and my background of fitness and sports and nutrition. And fast forward 5 to 10 years from now, I have a good idea of where I want to be and what I want to be doing. And that's what I'm doing right now to work towards that. And starting this podcast is one of those goals that I hit. Another area I wanted to touch on was I've been a long distance runner for over 20 years. I know that came, or the love for running came through my endurance sports that I played growing up. But running to me is it's not even a hobby, it's my life. It is something that I will hold on to so dearly in my heart. And I would love to discuss that more sometime. I always find myself saying that, by the way. I would love to discuss that more. That will be an episode. And that's great, because then there's a lot of things to talk about, and there'll be a million episodes. But running to me is not just a hobby or a lifestyle. And I have really gotten to develop myself as a running coach and really have grown and learned the sport and about the sport to where I can call myself an advanced coach. I can call myself an advanced runner. I can call myself very knowledgeable on the sport because of that. And I think that is really, really beautiful. I think that is a really good explanation or chat about me in a nutshell, without going obviously too deep into personal and past trauma and family dynamic and so forth. Leave that for another day, because the whole point of this was for me to be able to just tell you about me and just how I got to where I am today, and then kind of talk about where I'm wanting to go. I think that just builds better trust, and for people to kind of really understand who I am and what I've done to get here. It's not a cakewalk by all means. And this is something that I want to talk about today, as far as how I'm doing mental health wise and the things that I'm doing to get to where I want to go. It can be so overwhelming at the same time as gratifying. And I think that's why I felt the need to talk about this, just because sometimes people don't realize how much you've sacrificed and how hard you've worked and how long it's been. This has been a lifetime for me. This isn't something that just came over overnight or in the last decade or, a couple years. This has been a lifetime for me. And I'm 35. I'm just getting started. I've been just getting started, but I'm not going anywhere. And there's so many things that I want to accomplish. Now I kind of want to dive into just how I'm doing and where I want to see myself 5 to 10 years from now, and kind of talk about just how I how I choose goals, how I look at goals, how I look at my career, and what I want for myself. I have always been the type of person my entire life where, and my mom calls me this, well, it's a kind of a weird analogy. She says like I'm like a pit bull, that when I bite onto something, I won't stop until I get it. And I know that sounds very graphic, but it's true. And one thing about me is I am never going to streamline myself or put myself in a what is it, like one track mind. I have right now probably 3 to 5 big goals that I'm wanting to achieve, all under the same umbrella that ultimately would get me to whatever that ultimate goal is. But the 3 to 5 big goals I'm going after. There's not one big goal that I'm going after, or there's not one end game. And if I guess you could say I could see myself as one end game, but that would be years and years and years down the road. But it would take the 3 to 5 big goals that I'm going after to get there. And then from those 3 to 5 big goals, do you see how I'm holding my hand explaining this? Oh man, those 3 to 5 big goals, obviously there's baby goals underneath, smaller goals to get to that. And that's just how I've always been. I will never put all my eggs in one basket, and I will never set my mind on one thing. And that's not because of fear of not achieving the one thing, or I don't know. It's never been me. I always want to go for all of it. And I always strategically plan how I'm going to go for all of it. And like I said, it still will always remain under the same umbrella. So, for instance, everything I'm doing right now, as far as my jobs, my career, my personal endeavors, everything is all under the same umbrella and all comes together, as you can see. Though I'm not going to share what my 5 to 10 year goals are or where I see myself, I know that where I'm at today is where I belong. But I will say I am starting to feel the pressure, which means, well, let me explain that more. I'm starting to feel the pressure of what I want for myself, and starting to feel the pressure of that readiness and what I could do once I get to that next step. And that means that chapter is coming. Because when you start to feel that way, one, you'll put yourself in uncomfortable positions to get there. But two, it means that there's this wall that's starting to come down, and that next chapter is beginning to open up. I think this is the perfect time now to segue to how I'm doing mental health wise and where my mental health state is. I do believe that it is very important to talk about that. That is one thing that I really take pride in, but also to part of where I want to go in my life and why I've always wanted to start a podcast is to have my voice heard. Right now, I'm not feeling overwhelmed, as in having too many things on my plate. I will never allow myself to do that, but also that comes with good time management, and that also comes with working smarter, not harder. I am feeling a sense of overwhelming anxiety. I don't think my depression's really doing much. I find smidges of it here and there, but I think for me, the anxiety is coming from the pressure of my age. I think about that sometimes. I wouldn't call myself a late bloomer, but I wouldn't call myself on time. But I've never really, though I'm prompt, I love being prompt, that is very big. Etiquette, Emily Post. Oh, that could be it for an episode too. When I interview my mom, Emily Post, we've got to talk about that. Mental note, mark that down. Production. Anyways, but I've never been the person that has followed the the line or the track, like I said. So I don't want to call myself a late bloomer, but I'm not on time. And so I find that I do have that anxiety of wanting to achieve the goals that I want to achieve, but then also eventually wanting to get married. I've talked about my dating, that's not a main focus, but if I'm wanting to have a family and get married, I'm going to have to do that within the next how many years? Do I need to freeze my eggs? And the thing about it is I'm not feeling this pressure truly much from society or my family or my friends. I'm finding this pressure from me. When I open social media or if I listen to something, that doesn't make me feel like I'm not on the right track. It's me and my self and I that does that because I want so much for myself and for the little girl inside me that I also fear, well, what if it all doesn't happen or doesn't happen the right way? Or what is your plan B or C? Or with children, okay, if you don't have children, it's not that I won't have children, I will have children in some sort of way. But will I be able to have my own children? Can I have my own children? I need to do that. I'm really bad at going to doctors. Don't come for me. Okay, that's another episode. But, you know, if I get married and am I going to do IVF or am I going to have a surrogate? Am I going to adopt? I've been open to adopting. Do I believe in having children on my own without a man in general? I don't know, and so those are things that I have to think about. But then I'm overwhelmed with, okay, well, I really, really want to focus on my career and what I'm doing because I know I'm going to kick ass at it and I cannot wait to that next level. And I think about it all the time and I know, and this is what I've always told myself, that in the next year or two, things are really going to pick up. And once things start picking up to where I'm able to not uh, pull myself thin or why can't I ever say these really good terms or analogies? And normally I can, but when I'm on the mic, sometimes I feel like I can't forget anything. But, right now I'm doing it all. I am creating my own content. I'm running multiple different social media accounts. I'm now doing my podcast. I do all my editing, all my recording, all my creative designs and aspects of things. I have my actual full-time job too. So I have basically 3 full-time jobs, 4, whatever. And then, yes, I have talent agencies, but one I recently just signed with, which I'm really excited about. I am me. I am my own entrepreneur and owner or founder. I am my own admin, executive assistant, graphic designer, you know, uh, brand identity, marketing, PR. And so it can be a lot, but I put it on myself because truly I don't have to do all this if I didn't want to, but I want to because I love it. And I know that's where I belong and I believe in myself. So for me, going back to what I was saying is I do believe in the next 1 to 2 years, things are going to really take off. And I find that once I start to have a team and develop this really cool, creative group of people around me where I have more time to focus on certain things, I will. And I believe it's all going to fall into place at the right time. And though I always thought that I needed to get married or have kids at a certain age, I could totally see myself having kids and getting married within a really quick period of time and around, the 38 to 42 marker. Who knows? All I'm saying is I see that, and that to me makes everything kind of calm down because when you envision it and you're manifesting and you're praying about it, then it's happening. If you're able to envision it in your gut, there's different types of ways of envisioning. And I find that if you're able to really envision in your gut and there's a sense of calm and secure and trust, or security and trust, that's a really good feeling. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to get a chair for in here. I should have brought my other chair in here because I'm gonna have to stretch after this. I'm gonna actually have to use my foam roller because leaning back really isn't helping. And let's just say the lower back is a little uncomfortable. Next topic. I wanted to talk about isolation or social anxiety, if you want to call it, but mainly how when you get to a place, for instance, I'm doing all the things that I'm doing, that doesn't leave much room for social activity. And technically, that's not true because you can make time for anything you want to make time for. And I'm not working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I might be working 7 days a week, but not 24 hours, 7 days a week. But I find that I've isolated myself for good reasons and maybe not so good reasons. As far as career goes, I've isolated myself because I'm really focused and I love all the little things that I'm doing. And a lot of these things I'm doing, I'm around people quite a bit. So I am getting that human interaction. It's not as if I'm at home all the time or behind a screen all the time or not getting out of my place enough. That's not it at all. If anything, I really cherish my alone time and my downtime. And for me, I am a homebody. Truly, I am. Always have been, always will. I don't get FOMO, never have. I got my partying out the right times of my life. Right now, I'm isolating myself because I find that what I'm doing is enough social at the same time as having the downtime. But I find that the not so good isolating myself is where I lack trust in people or certain people or the willingness to want to extend my energy out to people. And I think that that is where the isolation and trust comes in because I don't want to extend myself and give people the real me because it's never fully reciprocated. For example, when I have met people or have tried to open up to people and talked about life or have talked about business or given advice, somehow that has been used for that own person's benefit. And it has really made me want to isolate myself. I don't even know what to say right now. I was ending the segment, and when I do that, typically I just take a deep breath, have a sip of water, chug a Celsius, put a little lip gloss on, just refresh. Sometimes I'll stand up for a second. Where I'm recording my audio on my laptop with my microphone, quit. Had a random quit. And when I reopened it, when it quits and then it says report or reopen. So I clicked reopen, my heart started racing, everything popped back up again. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go to save it. I should save it. And then I wanted to make sure it was all there and it quit again. And then when it reopened, nothing was there. All of my audio was gone. Hence why now I have my backup mic on because at least then I will have this. But this is the part of the episode where hopefully the sounds better because the whole episode thus far has been audio that I have been able to edit and manipulate that was recorded strictly just on my Canon G7X Mark III. I guess you have to make light of something. Oh my gosh. I literally sat here and thought, I'm going to have to record this all over again. And I was so proud of what I had just recorded because it was so honest and raw and it was flowing. So I'm sorry for the jump scare here, guys. We are back in action. We're moving on to the next segment. Let's get into some pop culture. Let's get into some news. We're going to talk a little bit more about Chat GPT. I really wanted to touch on Chat GPT because is it Chat GPT or Chat GPT? Let me check. I think it's Chat GPT. Production, can you look at that? Chat GPT. Okay, so Chat GPT. I just wanted to talk about the phenomena of Chat GPT. I recently have been introduced to it, though I don't utilize it for any of my writing or articles. I actually have an article coming out soon, which I'm really excited about, and I don't use it for anything when it comes to writing from the heart or writing about myself or anything in that realm, just because one, I really like writing. It's always been something I love to do. And two, when I look at ChatGPT, it's really great. I think it's a good tool to use for bits and pieces, I guess you could say, or like an idea of something. For instance, ChatGPT decide on what I wanted to call this podcast. I think that's pretty cool. Things like that. But I don't think that we need to rely on it for all of our writing because it's taking away from educating ourselves consistently and learning and being more literate. I feel bad for the younger generation. Though it's really great. I'm jealous. I wish I could have this when I was younger. Shoot. Ugh, it would have been insane. I don't even know, truly. But actually saw a meme recently that, and I talked about it today with some of my peers that ask Jeeves. So what? I'm an 89 baby, so I'm a 90s baby basically. But I like to say I was born in 89 because clearly 80s was a kick-ass decade. But Ask Jeeves was the Chat GPT of our generation. And Ask Jeeves was basically a platform, not like it was in between Chat GPT and Google. And when you open it up, it would have a bunch of topic buttons that you could click on, but then also a search bar. Yeah, that was that. But clearly, it's not as advanced in AI as Chat GPT. I'm very intrigued by people using Chat GPT for therapy and dating and relationship advice and as a friend. It's very intriguing, and I can't wait for it to be a documentary or a docu-series, documentary, whatever you want to call it, of just kind of diving into the psychological aspect of ChatGPT and where it is going and how safe it is and what it's collecting and it, people putting in their personal data and it coming out with things also to identity theft or people just making up false identities. It will be really interesting to see. And that's my definite detective SVU murder side that comes out on me. I am all about investigating and I am all about breaking every little thing up into the smallest segments of investigating to solve anything. And hence why I'm breaking down ChatGPT. I have not yet used it to ask therapy questions. I don't know if it's a void or I don't know how to start and ask because I know you're building up a relationship with it. I think. I think you are, right? Where you have a login and does it get to know you as you talk or is this something where you start a conversation and once that conversation's done, obviously it's collected in some sort of, hard drive database on there and, with the cookies and all, whatever you want to call it. But is it learning and growing and evolving with you? Because then I'm thinking ChatGPT is just telling you what you want to hear. And I remember reading something about how ChatGPT is just giving all the bitches what they want to hear. Something that was really funny about, hide your kids, hide your wife, or more of like hide your man because ChatGPT is kind of taking over. um, but yeah, I'm just very intrigued by it, and so I'm really excited to see how this evolves and where it goes. And I want to you maybe we should just do it here together. Let me write something in. So this is where it's so hard. Do you just start off with a random topic or do you have to build a rapport with ChatGPT just like if you were going into therapy, you build a rapport? That's where I don't know where to start. Do I just say like cure my past traumas? How do I start a therapy session with you. I'm really glad you reached out. We can absolutely begin a therapeutic style conversation, though it's important to know that I'm not a licensed therapist, and what I provide is not a substitute for professional mental health care. That said, I can help you talk through things, reflect on emotions, and explore strategies for coping insight. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to ask, do you remember everything people say to you and grow with them? Great question. And the answer depends on how you're using Chat GPT. In this current chat single session, yes, I remember everything you've said during the conversation. So I can refer back to earlier messages to keep the conversation coherent. Across chats, long-term memory. If you're using Chat GPT with memory turned on, available to some users like those on Pro Plan, I can remember helpful information you choose to share, like your name, preferences, goals, or reoccurring themes. You'll be notified when memory is on and you can see and manage what I remember. Do I grow with you? Kind of. If memory is on, I can adapt to your style, needs, and goals over time, like remembering that you're working on managing anxiety, noting that you prefer a gentle tone or direct advice, helping track long-term goals like improving self-esteem. But I don't learn from conversations globally or share data across users. It's all private to you. Wow. Okay. Okay. I stand corrected, but also too, wow. That right there just felt like a therapy session. Maybe I'm going to have to go pro. Maybe this is it. Maybe ChatGPT is where I just become the best version of myself. Crazy. Next segment. That's that. That was all I wanted to talk about. Reality TV culture. Okay. I watch reality TV show. I'm not above it. That's not where we're going with this at all. I've watched Housewives. I've watched the Southern Charms and unfortunately the Vanderpumps and the Very Cavaliers. I grew up on uh, the hills, or what was it called? Laguna Beach. Laguna Beach, good gosh. That was our first reality. That was our reality. Of course, with MTV too. Like, I remember um, Real World. Was it called Real World? Wow. Yeah, Real World. I love Summer House, things like that, Winter House, whatever. I like reality TV. It's great, it's a place to escape and la di di da da. I am really curious on the reality TV culture, understanding why people watch reality TV and what shows they gravitate towards. And is it because of where they're at in life, why they would gravitate towards certain TV shows? I'm going to get so much backlash from this, but I've not watched this season of Love Island. I've only watched one season of Love Island, and that was the season of uh the two blonde hair girls that are, really funny. I think the snake boy, the brunette, um I do forget their names, but that's the season I watched. I haven't watched any other season. And the reason why I'm talking about Love Island is because I had a really interesting conversation with my mom the other night, and she was also trying to understand this phenomena around Love Island and reality TV. She's never been a reality TV gal, and that's really fine. But I guess she was having a conversation how people today, I guess generation, maybe Gen Z, I don't know what generation it is, or if it's just a group of people, were comparing or are comparing Love Island to what Friends, the show, was. And I find that insane. One, Friends is not even a reality TV show. Two, Friends is iconic for the show and for the people on it and for the bond that they built. And yes, a cult following, but it in the nicest way possible. They were getting paid to act, and they were getting paid to make people get excited for a Thursday evening to watch it and to relate and to feel that comfort of friendships and trust and living together. It was like you were living it. I don't know how to explain it. Friends was just Friends. And I don't find that being half naked for a TV show and doing these crazy things that the producers gaslight you into doing is the same. I also think that a lot of reality TV that is more up and coming today, not shows that I've already been on, but like for instance, if you think about it, Housewives or any type of reality TV show, you can even go into like Southern Charm and things like that. When most people start a reality TV show, and I'm sure it was like this for Love Island, they're more pure or not as jaded. You'll see when they come on that they're a little bit more timid. There's not as much drama, or if there is, it's, little tidbits here and there. But then these people are not only coached by the producers, but then they see that drama and being crazy and being half naked and sex and all this stuff, just like anything else, sells and also puts more dollar signs into your bank account, and then they do it. And so that's where I find it very, very compelling, is that though reality TV is somewhat reality, it is also just turned into which show can be the most insane, unrealistic, unrelatable, outlandish show to get the most views and clout and money. Most people aren't going on a reality TV show these days for whatever it is that they're going on for. Surely Love Island, you're not going on there for love. Like, let's be real. Bachelor, Bachelorette, yes and no. I mean, I do love Kelsey and Joey. I love them a lot, actually. They're probably one of the only couples in a while that I really actually admire and think of a solid, healthy couple. But other than that, I find that everyone that's going on these shows these days are just going on for social status, mostly to get followers so then they can start making money, or which is not a big problem, by the way, or they're not going on for love. Again, it's just for money. So it's kind of taking away not the fun of it, but the aspect of it and the point or the objective of reality TV. And I almost wish that we could kind of dial it back, or some way, or somehow, some way recreate it to make it what it was with the Laguna Beaches, though that was all produced. Again, it was all produced. They were told what to do. But I don't know, make it more about the point of why we're watching it and not about how unhinged it can be, because sometimes it's not even that fun to watch, or there's too much screaming and yelling, or it's not normal. I almost feel bad for these people. And then their house, like their relationships are falling apart, their marriages are falling apart, their kids are starting to develop really bad anxiety and depression and trauma from all the things they're dealing with. It's just, I don't know. For me, I feel like it's kind of unraveling, but I'll still watch the shows that I like. But I just really wish that we would get back to reality TV show where, Bethany Frankel will come on and build a $100 million business, sell it off, and look at how she is today. That's what I love. And of course, there are those with the real estate shows and things like that. But even those, the drama on them overshines the hard work they've put in and what they're building. So I don't know. That's my take on it. But at the end of the day, I mean, get your bag, hustle. I think it's time to dive into products I'm digging this week. And let's get started. Oh my gosh, thank God that didn't come out everywhere. Let's get started with the first product, and that is my Primal Harvest Primal Greens. Boy, oh boy, I cannot live without this. I bring it everywhere with me, and I notice when I'm not taking it or if I've missed it for a few days. The best greens I've ever had. They have 50 superfoods and probiotics for energy, immune support, and digestion. They have a mushroom blend featuring 3.5 billion probiotics. You should have anything you're taking probiotic wise should at least have 20 million or more probiotics. If it doesn't, it's trash. And like I said, it includes 51 superfoods, or yeah, 50 plus 51 superfoods. It tastes so good. I mix it in with my collagen and my creatine, but this stuff, fuego, fuego, fuego. Since we're on the Primal Harvest kick, the Primal Hydration Sticks are really great. They have one flavor. It's like a citrusy type flavor. I really like it, and it's a must. You got to stay hydrated. You got to get your electrolytes in, your sodium, your magnesium, your potassium. This has that all. Your salt, sodium. Good Lord, we got to stop this. All right. From there, we have Beauty Joseon. I'm kind of on a Korean skincare kick right now. I'm actually injected with some Korean Botox. It's not new, just new to the US because we are behind with everything. But yes, I have Korean Botox in my head. It's not called Botox, but you get it. So this is the brand, and it's ground rice and honey glow mask. Wow, really great to add into my self-care skincare mask rotation. It's really creamy, and you can feel like the little rice particles in there that, I don't know, it's not exfoliating, but it's nice and calming. It's refreshing. I love it. Another beauty care product, not skincare, but Kiehl's sent me the nicest PR package. It's from their beauty line and body line that they're doing, and it's their body wash, shampoo, and conditioner, and this body moisturizer, which I cannot pronounce because it's creme de corpse, and it is so good. I love it. It's creamy, it's rich, but it's not thick or leaves like a thick not residue, but leftover on you. I don't even know what the smell is, but it smells really good. It kind of is citrusy. Let me see if it says what the notes are. But for a rich, elegant skin texture, I love it. It's so good. Moving on, Uli Hendrickson. I always feel like every episode's going to have something from there. Their SPF, but this is their Banana Bright Mineral Sunscreen, SPF 30. So basically, it's part of their what would be vitamin C line, and I really love it. So if I don't want to put vitamin C on one day, or if I want to, switch off and on, I will put this on, and I absolutely love it. But if you're putting this on, this should be your last thing you put on, and I don't recommend it if you're doing makeup. This is for a no makeup day, and it's the last thing you want to put on, because if you mix it with certain serums, just like anything, it can curdle. So just mental note, but it is so good. I love it. I use it all the time. And it says it's enriched or enhanced vitamin C and zinc oxide. And last but certainly not least, I'm a lip gloss gal. I'm a magnesium spray gal. Can't go anywhere without those two, or like a face spray. And this peptide, why do I feel like I've already said this one? I don't know, but here it is. Paula's Choice, the Pro Collagen Peptide Gloss Bomb. Really love it. I think I talked about this the first episode. I'm not sure, but I need to kind of make a list of everything, because eventually well, that's not true. I have so much beauty products and stuff that I won't, but you know what I mean. Anyways, Paula's Choice, the Pro Collagen Peptide Gloss Bomb. Love it. Must have. And we just finished episode 5. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. We had a couple glitches in the system. Nothing wrong with that. We're gonna run into trial and error. I really, really enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed recording this episode and making this episode for y'all. I hope that at this point I give up. Not only did I lose my audio from the platform that I record on randomly quitting on me, because that's my life, then my camera battery died and I don't have the new batteries yet for the multiple batteries. So now we're ending this episode filming on my phone. But this is what it's all about. It's about persevering and not giving up and overcoming those obstacles. And right here is just a prime example of why I'm going to be on top of this world, because of this reason. What I was saying was, we finished episode 5. I really enjoyed having you get to know me on a deeper level and to kind of just dive deep into who I am and how I got from point A to point B and how I'm going to point C to Z. So thank you for being along on this journey with me. It was really, really fun. And I promise you, it's not always going to be heavy, though. I want to make sure that there's sustenance. And I want to make sure that everything I'm talking about is from the heart, but also things that are relevant to me, that are important in society and make you want to be a better person for yourself or a better version of yourself, excuse me. And I want people to always leave listening to my podcast feeling fulfilled, have laughed a little bit, be a mess like I am right now, being all over the place. This cannot be more me in so many ways. I can't even believe it, but I absolutely love it. And to be educated in some sort of way. So thank you so much. I cannot wait. And I have the biggest surprise for episode 6, which is crazy to think because this is episode 5 right now. So we have a whole another week for episode 6, but I cannot wait. And I will start dropping hints and little clips when the time comes. But until then, that's that.